You're putting in the reps, you might have done hundreds of approaches at this point, you're not getting the results that your efforts deserve, and you feel like giving up, and you feel like you're broken, you feel like maybe this works for other guys and not for me. Within 6 weeks of us working together, Ethan had been on 6 dates in 6 weeks with 6 different women. And the way he did this was by implementing the advice that I'm about to share with you here. But keep in mind, it's not about taking action. Taking action only works if the action you're taking is conscious action. It's almost like going to the gym and practicing bad form. Yeah, you're showing up. Yeah, you're putting in the reps. Yes, you're being disciplined. But if all you're practicing is the wrong thing, eventually you're going to get an injury. So if you're somebody right now, and let's say you've been following my content for a long time and you have been out there, you are taking action, you are doing the approaches, but the results that you're getting at the moment don't match the effort that you're putting in. And I don't see enough content on this. Like a lot of the content online, it's just guys who are telling people like you, oh, just take action, bro. Here's how to overcome your approach anxiety. But it's like, yeah, I have overcome approach anxiety now. I can approach, but I'm not getting any traction with my approaches. So maybe you're going out at the moment and you're approaching girls. Maybe the conversations are going okay. You're getting phone numbers, but maybe the phone numbers are not leading anywhere. Maybe all you're getting is flakes, ghosts. Maybe some girls are blocking you. And you're starting to get demotivated with the process, right? Because you are showing up, you are putting in reps, you are putting the effort in, but the results don't match. And every time you're going out there to do more approaches, you've got this voice in your head, which is almost like, what's the point? Why should I keep approaching women? Why should I keep putting myself out there if I'm not seeing the results that my efforts deserve? So what I want to do in this video is I just want to give you tactical things which will allow you to start getting the results that you deserve with daytime approach. And what I'm about to tell you, I know it works because it's worked for my clients. And in fact, one of my clients in particular, Ethan, he was in a troublesome spot when he first reached out to work with me because Ethan had done 250 daytime approaches in 3 years and he'd been on 2 dates, all right? So you imagine approaching women for 3 years, doing over 250 daytime approaches and only going on 2 dates, yeah? And when Ethan first reached out to work with me at the start of the year, he was like, Christian, I'm thinking about giving up, right? He was an Asian guy living in Canada. He started to get in his head thinking, oh, maybe it's him, maybe it's the way he looked, maybe it's his race. And within 6 weeks of us working together, Ethan had been on 6 dates in 6 weeks with 6 different women. And the way he did this was by implementing the advice that I'm about to share with you here. But keep in mind, it's not about taking action, okay? Taking action only works if the action you're taking is conscious action. Because Ethan was taking action, you're probably taking action. But what I say to my guys is a big difference between taking action and taking conscious action. It's almost like going to the gym and practicing bad form, right? Yeah, you're showing up. Yeah, you're putting in the reps. Yes, you're being disciplined. But if all you're practicing is the wrong thing, eventually you're going to get an injury, right? Eventually you're going to snap your fucking Achilles. So the first thing I need you to understand is it's not about action. It's about taking conscious action. And for Ethan, having feedback was everything. So when guys work with me, especially the guys who work with me online, the first exercise I get my guys to do is go out into your city center, record 5 of your conversations, and then send these conversations as audio files over to me. And I will then give you detailed feedback on what you're doing wrong, right? Because a lot of guys, they don't know what they don't know. It's like trying to aim at a constantly moving target, right? So Ethan didn't know what he didn't know. This is why he worked with me. This is why he needed feedback. And this is how he went from 250 approaches, 2 dates in 3 years to going on 6 dates with 6 different women in 6 weeks, right? Change can happen fast when you know what it is precisely that you need to work on. So after listening to Ethan's conversations, the first thing that I realized was the way he was starting his conversations lacked polarity, okay? Because a lot of guys today are living like closet heterosexuals. You might still be carrying an element of shame when you're going into your cold approach conversations. But when you're approaching women, you can't be half a gangster. Going halfway with half a heart only digs a deeper grave. So after listening back to Ethan's conversations, the first thing I noticed was the way he was starting his conversations was too weak, right? He was walking over to women and he was like, hi, excuse me, you look cute. Oh, you look nice, right? And the underlying message that is conveying is, I'm not sure about this. I feel shame. I feel like a closet heterosexual. And because the girl is your mirror, she will feel what you feel. So if you're going in there with half-assed energy, these lukewarm, tepid compliments, she's not going to perceive you as a serious romantic option. She's almost just going to perceive you as another one of these weird, spammy game guys who's just trying his luck, because daytime approach, it's not necessarily a numbers game. It's a clarity game. Yes, you're going to have to put the reps in, but you need to make sure the reps that you're putting in are conscious reps, which means you're getting feedback on what specifically you need to work on. So the first thing that I said to Ethan was, dude, your opens are too weak. Your opens lack polarity. Rather than walking over to women and being like, oh, hi, excuse me, you look cute, stop saying cute, right? Saying cute does not turn a woman on, right? Oh, you look cute. That's something that I would say to a kitten or a fucking puppy, right? You see a beautiful woman, own your desire. Say, excuse me, you look incredible. You look so good. You look fucking amazing. Because when you show up in this way, this unapologetic, shameless, masculine intent, those first 3 seconds of the approach, she's basically deciding whether or not she's getting turned on by you. And if you're showing up in this weak, tepid way, she's going to see you more as a gay best friend, because this is where I was. When I first started daytime approach, you can see it on the oldest videos on my main channel. There was nothing seductive about my conversations. Women were not taking me seriously. I was giving off these closet heterosexual gay best friend vibes because I hadn't fully accepted my own masculinity. So the first thing that I would suggest that you do is the next time that you go out, make sure you're delivering strong, unapologetic, hard-hitting compliments. Even rehearse it to yourself before you go out. This is a big thing that I get my clients to do. Before you go out and approach women today, practice your open 10 times. Just imagine you're talking to a beautiful woman. Look at yourself in the mirror like you're a beautiful woman and just say, you look incredible. You look incredible. You look incredible. Because once you start to ingrain it into muscle memory, it'll take the pressure off of your delivery because you already know what you're going to say and it'll already feel as though you've said it. So the first thing, show up in a more shameless way. Stronger, hard-hitting compliments. The second thing, and this is so crucial and everybody gets this wrong, right? When you're speaking with a woman, it's not about what you say, it's how you make her feel, okay? Men speak in the language of logic, women speak in the language of emotion. So when you're speaking with a woman, you want to explain your reason for doing what you do. So if you want to emotionally connect with a woman, don't just tell her what you do, tell her why you do it. One of the biggest reasons why women flake, so you might get phone numbers and they don't lead anywhere, is because the woman didn't feel anything, okay? You might have had surface level shit chat where you had the hairdresser questioned, you had some back and forth, you told her what you do, maybe you told her you've got a few dogs, you told her about your job, etc. And there was nothing memorable about you. She didn't feel any emotional pull. So what I'm about to tell you now, this is going to be so crucial for your conversations, because I understand the position you're in, right? You're putting in the reps, you might have done hundreds of approaches at this point, you're not getting the results that your efforts deserve, and you feel like giving up, and you feel like you're broken, you feel like maybe this works for other guys and not for me. When you're speaking with a woman, what I want you to do, and you can do this as well before you even go out today, is whenever you give information about yourself, use the phrase, the reason why, okay? So if you say to a woman, I'm training martial arts, okay, that's nice. That's something you say to your guy friends. Oh, Bob, I'm training martial arts. Oh yeah, nice one, bro. Remember, men speak in the language of logic. Women speak in the language of emotion. So rather than saying I train martial arts and switching the topic, I train martial arts. The reason why, okay, the reason why I decided to train martial arts is because I wanted to put myself beyond my comfort zone. I feel as though a lot of people today get too comfortable. They get stuck in the comfort quicksand of complacency. And I don't know if you've ever had this before, where sometimes life feels as though it's too comfortable. Like, this is going so well, it must be bad. And for me, I use martial arts as a way to get myself into this state of godly frequency, which is the removal of doubt. Okay, I'm just spitballing here, but you get the idea. I'm explaining the why behind the what, okay? This is what sets you apart from every other guy, because nobody can tell the story of you like you tell it. When I was listening back to Ethan's conversations, there was nothing emotionally resonating. He was saying, oh, I work at this place as a software engineer. I'm in the process of starting my own business. So I said to Ethan, dude, rather than just saying you're starting your own business, explain to the women why you're doing that. I've decided to start my own business. The reason why, right? The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to live a life of freedom. Growing up, I always used to see my family struggle, and I thought that if I worked a standard job for the rest of my life, there was always going to be a ceiling attached to my income. So the reason why I wanted to start my own business is because I wanted to be free, and I wanted to take care of the people who mattered to me. That is so much more emotionally compelling than just being like, yeah, I'm a software engineer. Yeah, I train martial arts because I like it. Yeah, I started my own business because I wanted to make money, right? So I would say for you, before you go out, before you start approaching women, Write down 3 things that are interesting about you, 3 things that are interesting about you, and add in the reason why. Maybe you're a music producer. I'm a music producer. The reason why I decided to produce music. Maybe like me, you're a performer or a magician. The reason why I decided to become a magician. Maybe you are in the process of building your own business. The reason why I decided to build my own business. Whatever you're doing, you might be a teacher, you might be a professor, you might be an underwater basket weaver. It doesn't fucking matter. The reason why, this is how you start to emotionally connect with women. And also, when you are speaking with women, most guys' conversations don't last long enough. Understand, investment is more important than attraction. A lot of guys are just going out, they're doing these half-assed approaches, they're speaking with the woman for 40 seconds, and they expect these dead conversations to lead to dates, okay? In my experience, between 5 and 8 minutes is the sweet spot. And again, if you're not getting feedback, if you're not listening back to the audio recordings of your conversations, if you're not having anybody to pinpoint your blind spots, you don't know what you don't know. When I was having these coaching sessions with Ethan, he was so surprised by what he didn't know. Yeah, and if he hadn't started working with me, he would have just continued doing more approaches, not getting the results his efforts deserved, and starting to think, oh, I don't get results because I'm Asian, right? Because you might be in this position right now. Maybe you're bald, maybe you're short, maybe you're a certain race that you think is working against you. What I found to be true is most guys are only one piece of no bullshit feedback away from all of their results changing. I know it's true because it's worked for Ethan, it's worked for over 200 of my clients as well. If you go onto Christian Casanova testimonials on YouTube, I've got testimonials coming out my ass. Evidence has got the loudest voice, just so you know. I'm not chatting shit, mate. My testimonials are there, okay? I know how to deliver results because I've done it time and time and time again for my clients. Guys who are probably in a very similar position to you right now where you know you're dateable, you are putting in the reps, you've overcome your approach anxiety, but the results you're getting don't match the effort that you're putting in. The final thing I want to say to you, and this thing is crucial, okay? This final thing is crucial. If you ignore this, you can kiss goodbye to your results. Whew, it's a hot one today, brother. We're going to persevere. The final thing after listening to Ethan's conversations was he wasn't seeding the idea of the date during the conversation, okay? Understand, people are less likely to bail on plans they've already psychologically committed to, okay? So when you're talking with a woman, what most guys do is they create some vague plan and then they bounce. Oh, we should get a drink sometime. Give me your number. Okay, bye. And they wonder why the girl never followed back up with them, okay? When you're speaking with a girl, you want to mentally get her to participate in the idea of the date before you leave. So you'll see it in my conversations. I create a specific plan in the woman's mind, okay? So I say, listen, another time, I want to take you out to my favorite restaurant in London. 7 p.m. this Saturday, I'm going to take you to Daphne's. Have you heard of it? It's the best Italian restaurant in London. Wear your best dress. Then it makes the texting easier because then in the texting, you use a callback reference to the original plan. Again, people are less likely to bail on plans they've already psychologically committed to. So have an idea in mind, right? Where are you going to take these women? Yeah, a little bit of preparation goes a long way. Find a nice lounge, find a nice cocktail bar. If you don't drink, find a nice restaurant. Where are you going to take these women? Because in Ethan's conversations, after listening back to them, there was no plan. There was no future projection. It was always this vague shit. Okay, so his conversations, right? What Ethan's conversations looked like before we started working together was he'd walk over, say, excuse me, hi, you look cute. Oh, yes, what I noticed about you was, it just sounded like gamey horseshit. He'd share a little bit of information about himself. There was no depth. He basically just said, oh, I'm a software engineer. And the girl was like, oh, yeah, that's nice. I'm a fucking hairdresser. Oh, yeah, that's nice. So another time, do you want to like go out and get a drink? And even if the girl said yes, she wasn't mentally committed. Now, there's one more thing that I want to share with you here. I've never heard anybody else share this, but I got it from one of my mentors. I want to give it to you here. When you're speaking with somebody, it doesn't need to be a woman. What you want to do is you want to get them to accept an identity that makes it easy for them to say yes. Okay, what this means in plain fucking English is if you're speaking with a woman, what you want to say is you want to say something along the lines of, you strike me as an open-minded person. Have you always been this way, or is it something you've had to work on over time? The moment they agree to this identity, it's easier then to get the dates, okay? Because human nature is interesting because humans want to maintain psychological consistency. This is like some deep shit, but if you understand this, it's going to put your results so much further ahead than all these weird game guys who just spam in the streets of London, right? Human beings have a deep psychological need to be consistent, okay? So when you're speaking with a woman, you can mentally label her as a certain type of individual. So for example, someone who is open-minded, someone who is adventurous, someone who is spontaneous. Someone who is spontaneous is more likely to say yes to a date. So let's say I'm speaking with a woman, right? And let's say I've gone over, I've delivered a strong compliment, it's flirty fucking fireworks, things are going well. I will say about 33 seconds into the conversation, you know, it's crazy. You seem like a very spontaneous person. Have you always been that way, or is it something you've had to work on over time? And no matter what she says, if she says, oh, it's something I've had to work on, oh no, being spontaneous comes naturally to me, she is self-identifying as a spontaneous person. So then when it comes to going for the close, inviting her out on a date, she's already identified herself as someone who's likely to say yes to life. She's a spontaneous, open-minded person. You can use this on sales calls as well. If you're speaking to a prospect, you've got a prospect on the phone, you're like, oh, John, it's awesome you're on this call today. Most people would never even get to this first step. So that tells me you're an action taker. John, have you always been this way, or is it something you've had to work on over time? And John might be like, nah, mate, I've always been an action taker. I like to say yes to life. So when it comes to the close, when it comes to the business end of the conversation, he's not going to say, oh, bro, I need time to think about it, because he's already self-identified as an action taker. He doesn't want to conflict that identity, right? It's almost like somebody who professes to be a supporter of a football team, right? So somebody's like, I am a supporter of Liverpool football team. Their actions will be aligned with that identity. So they won't celebrate when Manchester United win the Premier League, right? This is a game of identity, okay? And humans like to be emotionally consistent with the things that they say. So all of this being said, and the reason why I'm giving you all this stuff is, if you're somebody right now and you are putting in the reps, or you think you're putting in the reps, right? You're showing up, you're taking action, you're approaching women. What I really wanted to do in this video is show you that there is probably levels to this game that you're not even aware of. And daytime approach is way harder compared to when I first started. I think it's so much more competitive now. You can't be this guy who's just spamming the streets, hoping to get lucky. Oh, 1 in 100 girls will say yes, right? That's not a good metric to shoot for. It's not a numbers game, it's a clarity game. At the moment, you're not getting the results your efforts deserve because you're not focused on what specifically is holding you back. So after listening back to Ethan's conversation, I identified these things. This is what allowed him to go from getting 0 traction to 6 dates in 6 weeks with 6 different women.
As a result of our conversations between Christian and I went from 250 cold approaches with 2 dates to going on dates with 6 different girls over the course of 6 weeks. So every week I was going on a date with a different girl.